In this video, I'm going to show you how to select a particular basin for extraction of a channel network and the channel profile. I'm doing this in a Docker container, and there's a number of previous videos showing you how to set that up, but hopefully you've watched those. I'm in Windows. I go into a PowerShell window. In Mac or Linux, you'd go into a terminal window, and then I start my Docker container. Again, you can watch previous videos if you want to see how that works. So I just start the Docker container, and I start up LSDTopoTools. Now, what I want to do is I want to follow some of the instructions on the basic analysis page. So this is the main documentation page. You can scroll down to the basic analysis, and we're doing the bit of the more advanced metrics. In this case, we start with the driver file 04. So I'm going to go to the data. I've downloaded this previously, and you can look at previous videos to see what I've done. And I've just got these, the raster that I'm using and the driver functions that or the driver files, which have all the parameters in them. So this has been previously downloaded. You can see that in previous videos. So I'm just going to run basic metrics on number 4. But before I do that, I'll tell you what's in there. So again, you want to see what's in this file. You can go into your host operating system and have a look. So I'm going to open this up with a text editor, and this is what it looks like. So you have the read and write names. In this case, you've got a channel network with 5,000 contributing pixels to start a channel, and you've got some other bits. In this case, it's asking you to find the basins, but actually I'm just going to get rid of all of these. So we're not going to do any of these. All we're going to do is we're just going to get the threshold contributing pixels, and we're going to print the junctions to CSV. Okay, so let's do that. We just run this. Okay, so that's done that. Let's have a look at what that's done. So we can refresh this. And in a previous example, I showed that it's easier to look at JSON data, so I turned that flag on in the driver file. And now I've got the raster. Let's put the junctions up front. So I am going to try to extract just this junction. So this junction is going to be the junction upstream of here. Okay, so when I click on this, let's zoom out to here, zoom to layer. When I click on this, it tells me what the junction number is. So in this case, it's actually conveniently junction 1. That's not always going to be true. Other junctions have different names. Actually, let's try junction 13. Okay, so to do this, we need a file called a junction number file to extract that junction. So I'm going to make a new file. I'm just going to say, I want junction 13. End the line, and I will save this. So that's going to be where I have my data. I'm just saving it. It could have any name that you want. Now, if you go back to selecting the junctions in the metrics file, so I'm going to redo this, and now I'm going to find the basins. I'm going to print the basin raster to show you where it is, and I'm going to upload a junction file. So what's the keyword for this? I can go back into the documentation and look up the keyword. So we need the base level junctions file. And we just called that junctionlist.txt. Okay, so let's run that again. And so I'll just run this again. Okay, so in this case, I turned the junction list on, and that printed out something called an all basins raster. So let's have a look at that raster. Refresh this. There's the all basins raster, and there it is. Now, this is a little bit counterintuitive, perhaps, but the thing about basins in LSDTopoTools, or in general, we try to order the basins by their Strahler order. So you can look that up online somewhere or on Wikipedia, but basically if the starting channels are first order channels, then if two first order channels come together, it's a second order channel. If two second order channels come together, it's a third order channel, and so on. But actually, the order of the basin stops just above a junction. So if you have a third order basin, it stops in just above the place where you start the fourth order channel. So our basins extend down to the pixel above the next junction down. So if I pick this junction, it will extend down to the pixel above. Actually, I can show you this. It will extend down to the pixel above that previous, so it's hard to see there maybe, but that's the last pixel of the basin. It goes to the pixel above the next junction down. So if you wanted a bit more control about where you got your basins in space, you would, in your parameter file, you would lower this to have lots of little basins, and then you wouldn't have very far, you'd have quite small reaches between basins. Okay, so we've got that basin. So now what do we want to do? Well, if we want to get a profile, we use something called print chi data maps. So this sort of does a number of things. It prints things like drainage area, it prints elevation, and it also prints something called the chi coordinate, which is kind of a distance that integrates drainage area. We use it a lot in analysis, but that's why that keyword has that name. So we've saved that, and we'll run this again. So the chi data maps, we can see that it is inside here now. So we'll have so there's the chi data map. It's in CSV format. So we can load CSV both into, and actually I turned on the GeoJSON flag. Let's go back to the parameter file. There's the GeoJSON flag. So we've got that. So we can actually look at what the chi data map looks like in here. So here it is. So that is the stream network for that particular junction. We can also, if we're going to look at this data, we can open this up in Excel. This will take a second. So here's our Excel. So you can actually get the, I I'm going to copy this over here because it's easier to do. So this is the channel profile. So there you have the channel profile. Let me just start at 200 elevation. Okay. So you can see with this you can extract the channel network and the channel profile directly from a given basin number. So hopefully you'll be able to now start getting channel profiles using LSDTopoTools.